Hello, and welcome to Newgen's webinar on trends in digital account opening. My name is Nicholas Buddemeyer. I'm on Newgen's product and solutions team, and I'll be walking you through the various different trends in digital account opening that we've seen within the industry. So as you know, for the agenda today, we're here to look at the digital account opening trends that financial institutions need to look out for, the various different factors that led to abandonment of a digital account opening application. So we'll be looking at all the different abandonment factors and how we can solve those. We're also going to be looking at the insights into digital technology powering the future of banking, as well as some new customer acquisition models. And I'm going to be giving real life examples of various different financial institutions, as well as other fintech institutions, and what they're doing within the industry to rethink customer acquisition. Now today we are going to leave about 15 minutes within the end of the webinar for any kind of questions that you may have about anything that's presented today. So with starting off, we're going to be looking at the main trends within the financial institutions that you need to look out for when it comes to digital account opening, with the main one being ease and simplicity. So throughout the industry, what we've seen is customers have been looking for a very easy and simplistic view to be able to open various different accounts. And this isn't necessarily limited to just financial institutions. This is across the entire industry with services like Amazon, Uber. Everybody's starting to get used to very easy and simplistic process to be able to buy products, open accounts, or going through any kind of digital channel. So we're going to be looking at how various different institutions that we've seen, other different kind of services, fintechs are going about this to create a more easy and simplistic account opening process. Now, tying directly into that is the interoperability of the various different products that you're offering. So the actual process that we're going through and how it can seamlessly connect with other services. So we're going to be looking at extensively kind of embedded banking throughout the presentation today, but how your account opening experience, your different products that you're offering, how it can interact with other different solutions, other different products throughout the industry to provide a seamless connected experience. Now coming into that with that as well is applicants are expecting to be able to apply and complete their application anywhere that they would like. We've gone into an age of kind of convenience where everybody is using a mobile device, a PC, both, and they want to have the same seamless experience across both of those devices. And one of the main things is being able to save and resume an application, starting on a mobile device, saving it on a PC, having that omni-channel access. But throughout this, we don't want to lose the personal touch part of the process. So while we do want a nice, easy, and simplistic experience, we still want to remain that personal touch for the various different institutions. Part of that is having an interactive application, but also having personalized assistance throughout that application. So the ability for applicants to be able to have co-browsing, chats, personalized communications throughout, follow-ups, and various different other touch points that are all personalized based on the applicant themselves. So with that, we're going to be going ahead and looking at some various different trends that we've seen. So this is provided from the digital banking report. But this is going to be kind of going into that speed and kind of agility of the various different applications that we've seen. So looking at here, there hasn't been a very much of a change since 2017 when it comes to the actual speed of opening and completing an application. So what we're seeing is over almost 30% of the checking accounts being opened are taking over 10 minutes, which in this day and age, 10 minutes on an application is going to be ripe for abandonment. The area that you're going to be wanting to shoot for is around the 3 to 5 minutes. Is going to be the kind of the sweet spot, maybe around 5-6 minutes to open an application. A perfect way to look at this is taking a look at digital-only banks. They were built on a technology that does not have the friction of legacy infrastructure. These digital-only banks, they were designed from the ground up on speed and simplicity and customer experiences, and they're starting to set the bar for traditional financial institutions to catch up. And a way that we can easily see that this is working is that digital-only account holders are expected to approach about 55 million in 2025, and that's up from 30 million from 2021. So as we can see, having that ability to have a simplistic as well as a quick account opening process is resulting in a lot of consumer acquisition. And then, like I said, we're seeing almost about a 30% for any kind of other, applications taking over 10 minutes to complete. And this isn't even including applications that are going from online to in-branch. This is just strictly speaking of online applications. Now, this is also a similar approach that we're seeing when it comes to a mobile experience as well. You're having that same kind of time frame, a little bit lower, but even on the mobile device, you're seeing almost 22% of the applications taking over 10 minutes to be completed. I'm not sure about you, but I don't know when the last time I've done any application on my phone that lasted over 10 minutes. And then one of the big parts of that is having that save and resume functionality that I was talking about. We've seen that around 2020 that save and resume has always been a big gap for most financial organizations. While a lot of organizations are starting to allow that process or have the ability to save and resume an application, as you can see, we have 63% online and on the web, but that's only within the same channel. So you can save and re-access your application online or on the web here. So while that's a good number, that still leaves a lot of institutions not allowing for any kind of save and resume functionality. And this drops off pretty steadily as soon as you get into mobile experiences, with only 24% allowing save and resume, and then while only 38% allowing in-branch save and resume process. Now, this is one of those big features that you may not think might be required, but does result in a large portion of the abandonment is not being able to allow an applicant to be able to move from, say, a PC to a mobile device, vice versa, or even walk into a branch or call a call center and have the application saved exactly where they left off, where those applicants don't need to duplicate that information. And one of the scary parts here is 29% of the responses would require an applicant to restart the entire process, so having no record of the applicant having a partially completed application within a system. So coming into that experience is we want to avoid having applicants come into the branch to complete or finish any application as it's going to be required. So you can see that with financial institutions that do require steps to be completed in the branch, we can see some of the popular reasons of why ID verification, signatures, documentation, application, completing of the application are some examples, with ID verification being the overall majority. But we want to avoid this process as much as possible. At any point in time that an applicant has to start an application online and then is forced to come into the branch to complete it, most of the time you're going to see an abandoned application there. Now, there are various different services that not only allow us to alleviate this process completely, but in doing so also allow us to provide that more seamless experience on that online channel, as well as a quicker experience. Taking example of ID verification here. So this is one of the biggest issues that institutions are having that are requiring users to come in. There's services like Ideology or SoCure that allow you to completely avoid this process of having somebody come in to do an ID verification. You don't require a ID to be uploaded. You can do address verification, income verification through these different services, and it's all done in the background where your applicants don't have to upload the documentations. It's all going to be done for them kind of in an automated fashion. and you'll have all the information and the results as an institution. So there are services out there that allow us to alleviate some of these issues. As we know with signatures, DocuSign, Adobe Sign, there's plenty of e-sign services allow us to capture digital signatures, be it on a mobile device, an online device. But that's where the documentation kind of come in with, again, various different services that allow us to automate this process like LaserPro. So having a solution that allows you to integrate into these various different services to provide the most seamless and quick experiences for your various different applicants. Now, I did talk about having that personal touch within the application as well. So this is done in various different ways, but you don't want to, just have a cold application. You still want to provide some personal touch, some touch points throughout the process. And one of the big solutions that we've seen, or systems that we've seen that institutions are using, is a service called Glia, which allows for that kind of very personal co-browsing chat functionality within an application. And this goes all the way from connecting with a customer service rep who can actually share the screen with the applicant, where they can see each other's mouses on a single screen here, and the actual service rep can walk them through the entire application process. So the applicant still gets that same quick and seamless process without having to come into a branch while working with a rep from the institution. So they can talk, they can have a video chat, they can chat within the box, and they can even be walked through as if somebody was standing right next to them and moving their mouse on behalf of the applicant there. So there are still these services that allow us to automate the process, but even enhance the process on a personal level as well. And then the last one I just really wanted to highlight here is when it comes to funding an application, we're still seeing a lot of institutions using services like micro deposits that are a major friction point we've seen within the industry. Anytime that you're making an applicant wait to actually fund their account, or having to log into their existing accounts that they have to verify funds that came in, to make sure that the micro deposits are working, that's going to be an issue. So there's services like Plaid and Yodlee that allow you to have kind of an instant account verification process to allow you to do instant funding from various different institutions. But you can go even steps further with services like PayPal, Venmo, other financial services that applicants are using that they may want to fund their account with in an instant fashion. So there's various different ways to make this experience completely seamless as well as extremely quick for the applicants. That's going to be customized or configured to the specific applicant. So if you have an older customer coming in, they're going to be more comfortable maybe using a service like Plaid. They may not have Venmo or PayPal, where they can just log into their existing institution and fund directly from their existing accounts. But you may have, millennials or a younger audience that's coming in that do use Venmo, PayPal regularly, and that's going to be where they're going to prefer to fund from. So you get that configurable application that's tailored to the individuals that are logging in or that are accessing or applying for your accounts to be able to fund or use their, go through the process how they prefer. So these are some of the trends that we've seen kind of widely within the industry, but I also want to we're going to take a look at some of the examples of this embedded process or what big industry leaders are doing within the industry in terms of acquiring new customers, as well as how they're starting to look at the application process. So I have some examples, some big names here of what they're doing within this industry. So as you can see, some big names that are listed here. So we have PayPal, that if you remember a little while back, PayPal was announced or was sold to be looking at acquiring a service like Pinterest. Now you may ask, why would be PayPal, a payment processor, looking at acquiring Pinterest? But if you go in and look into it, it's actually a really good marriage here. Is PayPal needs to acquire new customers, and what better way to do this than to work with a platform that offers up products to be instantly purchased and then funded through PayPal all within an application. So you never have to leave, the Pinterest app. You can click on a product that you're looking at that you prefer. And then now PayPal just acquired a new customer with nobody ever having to leave Pinterest and go to PayPal. It makes for a very seamless experience. So these various different services or big industry leaders are starting to look outside the box and embed their services in other third parties. And this also kind of comes with acquisitions that have been happening. So PayPal also acquired Paydi, Goldman Sachs acquired a lender, GreenSky, Square acquired Afterpay. So we're seeing a big push in the buy now, pay later space as well. So Square working with Afterpay, Amazon working with Affirm, Riverbank also offering credit cards through Chase Bank. So having that, Chase Bank embedding their credit card process directly on Amazon site. If you've ever gone through that experience, and it's an extremely simple application to go through and actually open an Amazon card. Uber offering cards through Green Dot Bank. And then a big one that we've just seen that was just announced recently is Shopify is actually launching, which is essentially a financial institution online that's directly integrated with Shopify. So nobody's ever leaving the Shopify platform, but they're able to check their balances, pay bills, get a debit card, write checks, all directly from the Shopify experience, Shopify platform. And this is through various different institutions that Shopify is working with. They don't seem to have announced who they're working with, but this is just different ways that institutions can capture new customers without actually having to work directly with, the product approach of trying to pitch a checking account to a customer. Instead, you're just working with the ease and simplicity of allowing an account to be opened through various different third-party systems. As you're seeing, this is what the industry leaders are doing, and it's time that even smaller institutions start looking at this as well. Now, it's not just limited to financial institutions or just financial products. If we look at, say, for example, Robinhood, they acquired a service called MarketScape in 2019, which is a financial news, podcast, and letter service. They rebranded the service to Robinhood Snacks, but this is what allows them to kind of interact and keep their customers engaged without necessarily offering them a product, but just building that trust, building those additional customers, and taking another approach into gathering customers and having that customer acquisition, again, versus just doing, say, pitching or sending out a checking account or a specific financial product to acquire these customers. And this is something that was done even beforehand by Stripe, who acquired a service called Indie Hackers, which is a website that was kind of helping entrepreneurs become profitable. So it's kind of a form-based website. But again, it just allows Stripe to bring in those customers and get them used to being and working with Stripe. And then they can easily transition those into Stripe using customers. So it's thinking outside the box of just directly showcasing products to customers to apply for, but embedding your different solutions, your different products within these third-party solutions, even outside of just offering checking accounts or specific products, but working with these other third parties to bring the institution's account process within there. So this is just what we've been seeing in the industry, but it's time that smaller institutions start looking at these kind of more left field, out of the box approaches and catch up with the industry leaders here that are already starting to do this and already starting to acquire or embed their services in a more connected manner. Now we're shifting gears a little bit because now we're going to start talking about the actual account opening experience itself. So as I talked about with the agenda, we wanted to look at the challenges of account opening. So while we do want to offer those services or embed them into third parties to be able to acquire new customers, it's all going to be for naught if the actual experience of the account opening process has issues or is taking longer than 10 minutes, as we've talked about before. Doesn't matter how many services you embed into, if the experience isn't there, it's not going to work for us. So we've seen some of the major reasons for kind of abandonment or drop-off rates, as you can see here. So visibility into the application various different distractions, and not trying to remove distractions in their entirety, but accept the distractions and use them for your own benefit. Having complexity or having a too complex of a process, getting over the fear of it being an online application, various different confusion of having confusing language, the way that it's laid out, having certain box check that people don't understand what they're doing when they're checking these boxes, and then the inconvenience of an application. So if your application is taking longer than 10 minutes, it's requiring documents to be scanned and uploaded, that's going to be a big pain point when it actually comes to the account opening experience. So we're going to take out look at some ways of conquering these different aspects. And I'm going to be using some examples that Newgen has taken when it comes to actually limiting these problems that I just showcased. So one of them is being the omnichannel, cross-channel process or application. So being allowed for an applicant to have that same seamless experience regardless of the device that they're using. So be it a mobile device, a tablet, a PC, keeping that same seamless, simple experience regardless of the device, that the only thing that's changing is that you're more effectively using the screen real estate that's provided, but you're not actually changing the overall experience based off the device that the user is using. And then one of them is actually pre-filling as much data as possible. So this can be done various different ways. One of the main ones, if they're already existing customers, is being able to have a system that connects seamlessly with your online banking system to pre-fill information, but also using other third-party services, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, IDs, allowing applicants to be able to pre-fill their data as much as possible. The more an applicant is keying in data, the more you're going to have errors and the higher abandonment rates you're going to have. And then one of the biggest ones that we've seen is no username and password being required on an application. So we've seen a lot with that save and resume functionality. While a lot of institutions are starting to provide that functionality, they're requiring an applicant to create a username and password. This is a big no-no in the industry, as once you require somebody to create a username and password for an application or a product that they don't have yet or hasn't been opened is a big friction point. Most people aren't going to want to keep track of another username and password just to be able to resume their application at a later point in time. So using other means such as, last name, last 4 digits of SSN, date of birth, other ways to verify who the applicant is to be able to save and resume their application is what you're going to be able to do, what you're going to want to do versus say using a username and password. And then conquering that confusion. So being able to have clear instructions that are simply laid out throughout the process. You don't want to jumble up the application with too much wording or having no visibility of where an applicant is within the process to be able to finish. So one of the things that we've done in Newgen is do a milestone-based approach where it clearly lays out exactly where the applicant is within the application and how long they have until they finish the application. So there shouldn't be more than a few steps, as you can see, generally like 5, 6 steps. It's all it's going to take to go through the entire application process, but also front loading what the applicant's going to need to complete the application. So you don't want the applicant to start going through the process and realize, oh, I don't have, my SSN, which is going to be required for this application. They have to leave the application, go find it, maybe forget about it. You're going to have more abandonment there. So front loading this information to be able to showcase to the applicant, this is exactly what you're going to require to start this application so they can get everything together before they start filling in details. And then as I talked about, having that assistance throughout that application, the personal touch here. So you can use services like Leah, having appointment scheduling, chat boxes, tool tips, just various different ways for the applicant to quickly find the information that they're looking for or get the information, if that's connecting with a customer service rep or just checking a tool tip really quick that has that explains exactly what this field means or what's going on within the application. Now, fear is one of the bigger ones. This is becoming less of an issue nowadays, as more applicants are getting used to the online experience and trusting the online experience, especially with the big push of fintech companies. People are getting more comfortable doing banking and other services online. But having small things can go a long way here. Something as simple as just having a security lock, letting them know that, hey, this is an encrypted page here. The data is only being used for pre-filling purposes. This isn't being saved. Just little pieces like this, little best practices baked into an application can make a big difference as you go through or have an applicant go through the application. And this also works with masking data throughout the process. Being able to mask any personal details such as SSN, date of birth, email address, or other fields depending on the institution's requirements, but masking various different fields throughout the process. And then, as I said, one of the things is distractions here, and this is something that you're not going to be able to get rid of all the distractions from an application, or remove the ability for an applicant who's working within an application to get distracted. So you need to work with this, and that's part of that save and resume functionality, and that's also part of the personal touch here. So having a system that automatically notifies the applicants once the application times out, or they say walk away, they got distracted, have automatic personalized communications going out. Let the applicant know, hey, your application's saved. Feel free to resume it at any time. Here's all the information you need to do that. Having that being automatic and personalized can really go a long way here. But just having that ability to save the application without having to create that username and password and saving it automatically in the case that they do just get up and walk away, it'll save the application for the applicant and let them resume it. And have this being done, walking into a branch as well, where they can pull up a saved application, or a call center, somebody can reach out and say, hey, your application's saved, and help them complete it. So you got to accept the distractions. You can't fight them here. And then that the complexity, which we talked about earlier, being able to integrate with the various different systems to be able to have instant, quicker funding, as well as have e-sign baked directly within the system itself, or doing the ID verification, the authentication automatically in the background. You're not having people upload documentation that might not be necessary, adding those additional friction points, making it as simple as possible for the applicant to go through the process, and also making it more closer resemble experiences that they've already had. So having shopping cart experiences where they can just select multiple products and apply for the products within a single application, like they would say on Amazon, where they're just adding the different products that they want into a cart. It's adjusting the application as required, and then they can just go through and have that same seamless experience that they're experiencing with other services that they're using. And then covering any kind of blind spots you may have. So this really comes into that personalized automated communications within the system. So being able to have any personalized messaging directly on the application, but also those follow-ups that are automatically sent. You don't have to worry about somebody, missing that, hey, an application came in, they missed that they were supposed to send a follow-up to the applicant. You want those personalized communications to automatically go out within the system for the applicants to quickly see exactly what's going on with their application, have the status updates, if they've been denied, have the correct messaging going out, the correct disclosures and documentation. You want to keep the applicants in the loop so they're not sitting there waiting for a response, or having to manually follow up with the institution on what's going on with their application. Now, I've talked about the process of having that more seamless online experience and helping with the various different issues with a lot of institutions that are having the online experience. I just want to quickly touch on what Newgen is doing within the industry. So we have looked at a few things that we're doing, but with Newgen's online account opening solution, we're taking a lot of these best practices and we're looking at what the big industry leaders are doing. We're baking that directly into the system to take that pressure off the shoulders of the different institutions. So already baked within the solution, we have omni-channel and cross-channel functionality baked directly into the system with that device responsiveness. So you don't have to worry about maintaining multiple applications based off the device that the applicants are using. We're even taking this a step farther, that we're an open API and open system, that we are working within our roadmaps to allow embedded applications as well. So into those third parties, if you do have partnerships or develop partnerships with other systems or solutions down the road, you don't have to go and acquire a new system or a new account opening system. This is a flexible platform here that'll allow you to tie in to those different third parties and embed the solution and embed the flow directly into those other relationships you may develop to acquire the new customers. And they'll be provided with that same seamless experience that we've seen so far throughout this webinar. Now, we already have baked within the system to be able to pre-fill a lot of the data for the applicants. We can do connect with online banking systems. We're an open API system, driver's license, passports, connect with third-party services, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, really any way that works for your clients, your customers. You're going to be able to have them pre-fill their information. And one of the most important parts is, like I said, that automation of the ID verification and authentication process. So we already have established integrations, established partnerships with a lot of these different services, Ideology, SoCure, the check systems, your credit bureaus, to be able to automate this process as much as possible for your customers. So we saw within the big pain points, with over 70% saying ID verification was one of the reasons that they had their customers coming into the branch to get the verification done. Well, this can be automated in a complete process within the system. Any red flags are automatically highlighted for you and communicated to your staff, and are available within the back office for processing, and all the communications that need to go out to the customer to know exactly what's going on are done automatically within a personalized way. Now, funding itself, this is always one of those pain points. So we've already had integrations. We were actually one of the first online account opening solutions or platforms that integrated with Plaid. So we've had one of the very first integrations into Plaid. We can also use Yodlee or any other third-party service that you want, PayPal, Samsung, Apple Pay, to be able to allow your applicants to be able to fund their applications in a quick, seamless manner. So any way that you want to offer to your applicants, we can absolutely offer that funding to these various different third parties to make sure it's as seamless and quick as possible for your customers. But the solution goes beyond just digital account opening in itself. It does have that full back office to provide that in-branch experience as well. So you have this back office to review your applications, do exception handling, to also process applications within the end branch, initiate or originate new applications within the branch as well. And you have this with that full follow-up and real-time monitoring within the system. So the systems automatically send out personalized communications, as well as is going to have that full-time monitoring in real time for you to be able to track your applications. You'll be able to see exactly if you do have any pain points within the application. What are they? Where are they at within the process? Is certain aspects of the application taking longer than others? You have integrations into Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics as well, to be able to see exactly what's going on your online channels, as well as within your back office within the system, to improve any processes you may have. Now, just stepping one step a little bit further, the solution itself, or Newgen's solution that I've been talking about, that digital account opening experience, it goes beyond just account opening. So if you do ever decide to go with Newgen, you do have the ability to move beyond just the checking accounts or deposit accounts. It's a platform that we're working with that allows us to leverage all these functionalities that we've talked about and fill all these holes that may be happening within the industry across an organization. So this can be commercial lending, small business lending, consumer lending, or even organizational things like IT services, trade finance, accounts payable. Really, if it's a workflow associated with it, it can be built within this platform to provide the same functionality across the institution. So it's done within that platform, within the various different modules within the platform to allow you to automate and bring one single solution in to be able to automate the processes. And it's a configurable platform. So it's allowing you to adjust to the market trends. So this is the same platform that we've been using for 5-10 years ago. We've just updated it and adjusted it as we've gone on throughout the years and seen market trends, industry trends, and added these features and functionalities. So as the years go on, things change, people expect a different experience. The solution can morph with you to follow these trends and adjust to the most seamless and best experience for your customers. It's not an out-of-the-box system that you're just going to install it. It's rigid. It is what it is. It moves and grows with you as an organization. I just want to kind of go back to the main points that we looked at today for the webinar, which were the ease and simplicity of the actual applications. This is the main industry trend that we're seeing, is having that quick and simple process for applicants to be able to apply for the various different applications, but with that personalized or customized field that they desire from the institution. And then having that connected to the different third parties, so that interoperability to be able to connect with third-party systems, but looking beyond the scope of just the products that you're selling, but having various different touch points with the customer, be it connecting with third-party financial solutions, connecting it with marketplaces or other different systems to embed your products to provide that seamless experience to the customers and acquire customers in a different way than just offering a checking product on your website. And then the anytime, anywhere approach of the save and resume, the omni-channel, the adjustments of the application, the best suit who your clientele is, be it they prefer a mobile device, a PC, talking to somebody on the phone, having a video chat within the application itself, being able to support any way that your customers may want to apply and complete their applications is going to be paramount. And then the very last portion is the actual personalized. So you don't want to lose the personalized applications. You still want that personal touch within the application process. So you still want your special sauce as an institution. You still want your customers working, your staff working closely with your customers, be it on the online channel through co-browsing with services like Glia, chats, those personalized communications. You don't want to lose the personalized aspect that makes people have faith within legacy institutions within the industry. Now that completes my spiel for the day, but were there any questions about anything that's come in or anything that I've talked about so far within the webinar? You can put it within the chat box and we'll be able to take a look at any of the questions that are coming in, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that may come in through the chat section within the webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and just give me a second to open this. So I do see that there's a question that says, does the system facilitate checkbook ordering, debit card ordering system together with the account onboarding platform? So yes, the solution, the Newgen solution, it does allow for direct integrations into services for instant card issuance, checkbook ordering. So we've already had integration with various different popular systems, but we can leverage the services that you're already using, so you don't have to acquire another service. We can integrate into those systems to be able to facilitate that instant card issuing or ordering debit cards, checkbooks during the actual account opening process. So that's absolutely supported within the system. Just give me 1 second to see these other questions coming in. I see a question that says, do you also support business accounts like IRA and fiduciary accounts? We absolutely do support these within the solution as well. So it's not just limited to consumer accounts, but we do support business accounts and more complex accounts like IRA, as well as fiduciary accounts within the online channel as well. So it is, again, a flexible application. So we do already support IRA accounts and fiduciary accounts within the system. Taking a look at the questions here. So I do see a question asking, does the application work both on an online and offline mode? And I'm assuming it means that if you're going through the application and you say lose connection with filling out the details, so we can't have it so they can fill out the information, say offline if they're not connected, but they will have to connect online to submit the application, as well as do a lot of to have the automated kind of verification authentication process. But it can work in an offline mode in terms of them filling out the actual data in the application itself. Just take a look at the other questions here. I do apologize, it's taking a minute. The question box is very small for me to see. I'm not sure how to make this bigger here. So I do see a question saying, are the reports generated from the onboarding platform user configurable reports? So yes, any of the reporting within the system we do provide. There are standard templated reports that we absolutely can provide, as well as we can provide custom reports that you would like. But within the system, there's what we call as a report design wizard that takes you step by step through the process to allow you to create as many reports as you would like. So there's no limit on, say, the number of reports that you would like to make as an organization. You can absolutely create any kind of report. It even supports if you do have a more technical person that likes to query or use SQL to create the reports as well. That can also be done. So you have two different ways to create your own reports. So user reports directly within the system, either using that step-by-step design wizard that's more simplistic design for business users, or if you have a more technical person, they can go into the system and have a more using querying their own results there. I do see a question. Are you integrated to the major core banking cores, FIS, Pfizer, Jack Henry? So yeah, we absolutely are. So we've already integrated with a lot of FIS, Pfizer, Jack Henry. They have multiple different kind of core systems that they offer. But with Jack Henry, we are a VIP member. We have close relationships with Pfizer, FIS. We have integrated with various different cores that they offer. So we absolutely do have those integrations. And I see, can we provide a list to the audience? We should be able to do that for you, no problem. So we'll take a note of that, and we can be able to provide a list of the different cores that we've worked with and that we can integrate with. So all the major providers, absolutely not an issue. But even if it's not a major core system that you may be using, we have an integration team in our Tampa, Florida office, and their entire purpose is to work on integrations into various different third-party services, being it a core system or any other third-party system you may use. So we're a very open system. We don't have any limitations in terms of integrating with these different services. But all the big names, FIS, Pfizer, Jack Henry, we've absolutely had integrations into. And then I see a question about, do you provide the solution for the personalized approach backend application, so the co-browsing process? So we do have a partnership with Glia, so that would be, that's who we can work with or integrate Glia into the system to provide the co-browsing experience as well. So that'd be a three-way partnership between Newgen, GLIA, and the institution to offer the co-browsing experience or those other experiences that GLIA offers within the system. And I see a question about the technology using behind this. So this is based off of Newgen's own platform. So this is a system that we've developed from the ground up. That is our own platform, our own IP that we've created. We haven't made any acquisitions of other companies and tried to merge the systems together. This is our own platform that we've developed from the ground up that allows us to create these configurable processes for the various different services. So we already have, commercial lending, small business lending, consumer and business account opening, trade finance, those kind of things already built within the system that are configured to the individual institutions, but it's all based off of our homegrown platform. So all the different workflows or products you want to offer, they're all seamlessly tied into that same platform that we're working with, since we're the ones that created it from the ground up. Let's see. Yeah. And I'm just making sure, seeing which questions haven't been answered yet. So it looks like most of the questions have been answered. If there's any unanswered questions within here that I wasn't able to see or that I didn't get to, we will have somebody that's going to be going through and we'll be able to provide responses to those questions as well. But I want to thank everybody for joining me today and walking through the webinar with me. I hope you all have a great Friday. Thank you. Have a good day.